Hello, everyone. I'm Peaceful Nik the Medium, and I would like to welcome Lady Shadowe to the stage. Hello, hello, everyone.
I bow in respect to the Peaceful Nik, the Peaceful Nik that is the Buddha.
Thank you so much. And you know what? I want to talk about my hair is a mess.
This is what it's like
To have
be
curly hair.
You just go on natural. We wake up this way. We have naturally curly hair, the God-given perm, and sometimes it behaves and sometimes it does not.
Most of the time it doesn't behave.
Exactly.
You should have seen my hair in little clips wound up all day long. Oh, I think I sent you videos. I had little clips all over my head.
That was too cute. I thought you were wearing space buns.
No.
At first,
I have to
like
put
from
these
Star
clips
Wars.
in because it goes out of control.
Yeah, no, your hair is great. Mine is really, really wild and untamable. It's got a lot of layers in it thanks to menopause, natural layers. Pieces just breaking off wherever.
Hello, everyone that's joining. Today's an impromptu live with the beautiful and amazing Lady Shadowe. Tonight, we're going to be talking about our Soul Twin Stars podcast premiering this Friday on Spotify and everywhere else you find podcasts.
It has been recorded. It is amazing.
It has been recorded.
It is unedited. It is raw.
Yep, exactly. Yes. We're so excited. And tonight we want to talk about why the podcast is so important. Because podcast, schmodcast, everybody has a bleeping, I'm trying not to curse on here. On the podcast, I can. Everybody has a freaking podcast. But why is ours so important and so different? So tonight, we are going to talk about that. And if you have any questions, please put them in the chat and say hello in the chat. Tell us where you're from. Tell us how the weather is. Hi, Carol. Hi, Jane. Hi, Diana. I'm so glad you're here. So we are both empowered entrepreneurs and practicing spiritualists. As everyone who's watching knows, I'm a medium. Lady Shadowe is
a psychic empath, artist, author, witch. White Wicca, love-based.
Always love-based. Everything we both do is always set with an intention of love. And this is important because things are changing and not always in the way we want them to. But when they're changing for a reason. To bring to the forefront all of the things we need to do better. Because if we dive into the negativity, which I refuse to do, if you dive into, I could easily make a dramatic list of very crazy videos about all kinds of insanity, but I won't, because I don't want that energy in my life.
Yeah.
What do you think about that? I got to turn on my UFO lamp.
I love that lamp. I'm going to get one. I love it. Oh my gosh. It's got to go in my room. Yeah, we already have enough, right? We already have so much that's bombarded into our brains, and not necessarily by invitation, because you're watching a television show, in your face ad. You either have to fast forward or you're forced to listen to it. You're forced to listen to family, friends, colleagues and their toxicity, right? To be quote a good person by being an ear, which is fine, but we all have to know when enough is enough for the day. Right. And then you have to find a therapist at some point if someone's wearing you down. But we don't. We in our natural states, we are already overstimulated as it is, even if we are Zen and can tune most of it out, because our self-talk naturally says, nope, you're a piece of shit. You are a piece of S. You are not worth it. You are, and that is what we discuss in our podcast, is that we are regular people who have just a little bit more education and study because we consciously chose that, right? And we're consciously choosing a different path every day to try to make our lives more exciting. And well, we are, but sometimes we fail like everyone else. And we just want to share those. Yeah.
Learn the most from your failures than your successes.
Yeah. And it's okay to try things out and it doesn't work, and to get up the next day and try a different pose per se, So don't be afraid of failure. It's just, part of life. And you and I being entrepreneurs, we are trying things out all the time.
Always.
What works, what doesn't, new marketing strategies, the way we talk to people, creating new platforms. It's just part of the game. But if you don't pick a game at all,
right,
then life will live for you,
yes.
and you will have no choice in it anymore.
Yes. And I want to say hi to Lori, who's also in hot Florida.
Woo!
It was 98 degrees at 2:00 today. I just want to say a little warmer than May is supposed to be. So yes. If you're here, say hi. Tell us how the weather is where you're at. And I want to mention about what you were talking about with, we're not perfect. We're just people that do really cool jobs, and we work 24/7. And we were just talking about, we were both fussing with our hair before and the lighting and, and getting it just right. But you know what? It's okay. We're not perfect, beautiful models on the freaking internet who are all filtered and all the fat sucked out. And,
Well, our podcast is not called Two Beautiful Vegetarian Models Looking to Help You Become Famous in Europe. We're in our early 50s. We've hit menopause. We've lived, seen, and done in so many different ways. Yeah, and we've really. But the thing is, we have consciously chosen for many years to walk a certain spiritual path because we knew early on that there'd be no other way to enjoy our lives or find the balance that we need. Nor could we teach any of this, right? You teach, I teach. So if you can't take the time to learn it, you can't teach it. So we are trying to share our wisdom with the rest of the world, even though we're imperfectly perfect, like everyone else.
And you just made me think of something. Not every person who listens to Mel Robbins or Oprah Winfrey or David Bear or Eckhart Tolle resonates with them. Maybe we'll resonate with a different set of people that will hear. It's all the same message. We're not making anything new up. We are just talking about all of these things from our life experience. And my life experience is very different from Mel Robbins, Oprah Winfrey, David Bear, and Eckhart Tolle. We all have different lives. So it's very possible that our life experience will resonate with another group of people that enjoy our content, and will help people.
Yeah. And you'll laugh. You will have a lot of fun. Yeah. You'll have a lot of fun. That's another thing, is that we bounce well off of each other, and we support the transparency of our lives. And a lot of my transparency comes out of my plays. Like, ooh, they are putting it all out there. It's though the words that I write and put on a stage are just as authentic as the ones I'm sharing with you on this platform. And our podcast is going to really shoot for, I've heard Mel Robbins use the F word in her podcast all the time. It's not that we're going to drop F bombs everywhere, but it might come up here and there. Again, we're just living our lives here and we're just having fun. And Nik and I, and just like you all, you could all start a podcast too. And we all are empowered with this amazing humanness, right? And we're just choosing to put it out there and be fearless about it. That's all. That's the only difference, is like, hey, I'm just going to put it out there.
And I think something that resonates with so many people is I don't have anything to hide. I don't care to tell my story. I think my story is interesting. I think you're the same way. And my story is we got a lot of parts to it.
Yeah. A lot of moving parts. Yeah.
A lot of moving parts. And it'll resonate with people, because I'm not going to pretend. I know this person who's in her 70s and claims to have come from a perfect family.
No dysfunction at all, right?
Yeah. And I'm like,
so lucky, because 99% of us didn't get that. That's not fair.
That's true. That's okay.
So not fair.
Yeah. Jane said there's more storms coming through St. Louis. They had a big tornado the other day.
Oh.
I have lots of family in Missouri. Bunch of sisters, cousins, aunts, uncles, loved ones, many of them, and oh, that's just awful.
Be careful out there.
I want to say hello to my special friend, Kelly, who is just wonderful, and Kathy, Medium Kathy. If you're not already following her on all her platforms, please do. Yeah, Lori, I believe everyone should speak how they feel, no filter. Absolutely. And sometimes when you're trying to, like when I started on social media 5 or 6 years ago, I didn't know anything. I was 48 years old. Like I didn't know what I could do or say. And now with the podcast, I can be really unfiltered because I work in a healing modality. So I'm not trying to get out there on my, TikTok, YouTube, and Facebook and be like, saying all kinds of weird stuff because I really want to attract the people who want to be healed. But there's another side of me that is a person that drops F-bombs, that has a bad day, that gets cranky and has had a lot of crap happen in my life. Like I'm not just peace and love and butterflies all the time with rainbows. No, that's not realistic. And that's not how my life has been. All of the crap that has been heaped upon me in my life has led me to become a healer and have a better understanding of people's problems. Jane said there is no perfect family. Everyone has skeletons in closets. Right. Girl, I know. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So let's see what else we've got here going on. Our podcast will be sparking honest conversations about intuitive living, vibrant aging, the beauty of divine wisdom, the roller coaster of menopause, which we all know and love.
And the men can tune in for those because the men can understand us better.
And
we can understand the men better as well. We have very dynamic and needy husbands, both of us, both Nik
needy baby, greedy baby.
And we're proud to say it. But should I tell the audience about what I did to my husband to help him understand menopause?
Sure.
So
just make sure we don't get blocked on Facebook or YouTube.
No, nothing crazy, except not as wild as my hair. So he didn't understand what it felt like to have a hot flash. He just thinks I'm hot.
Oh my God!
I'm down
one right now.
Yes. And they're so random. So I would say, okay, it feels like you're getting a sunburn from the inside out for a minute, and then you profusely sweat. And you can feel it coming on and it has to finish its course. It goes through its cycle. Once it starts, it has to finish. That means you're going to get super hot for about a minute or two or 30 seconds or however long. Sometimes they last longer for other women. I get lucky. I usually within a minute or two, they're gone. And he just didn't understand. He would make fun of me. Oh, you make it so cold in here. Well, you've got layers you could wear. You've got blankies you could put on. Here I am like naked with nothing on. Still can't get cool enough. So I said, sweets, there is a supplement called niacin. No flush niacin. It's really good for you. If you take it, you're going to feel a nice tingle. You're going to get a little warm. But I'll tell you, that's probably the closest thing that you will feel to a hot flash.
Yeah, you turn red.
Well, yeah. And he's like, well, is it safe? And I said, of course it's safe. In fact, it's really good for your heart and your capillaries to open up and dilate and the whole thing. So he's like, okay, fine. Give me the niacin. Grabs his drink and slams it down. 10 minutes later, he's like, oh. he's like, I'm going to die. He's like, give me some water. Am I turning red? I'm like, yeah, a little bit, but oh my God, look at me. I'm turning red. Should I call the ambulance? And I'm like, sweet, it's okay. It's just a little nice. And he's never had the no flush. And I literally bought this bottle just for him to try it. Because I
thought no flush meant you didn't get the hot flash.
No flush means.
I never bought that.
No flush is the one that you want to get, but I bought regular.
Oh.
Yeah, you want to buy no. If you don't buy no flush, you're going to get the flush.
Okay, good.
So he was just out of himself with this sensation, and I said, for the last year and prior to 6 months ago, I was getting these every couple of hours on every day, like weeks. Luckily, they've slowed down a little, but he understood it finally. And sometimes you have to put somebody in experience to actually like get to be in their shoes. You have to actually get in their shoes.
Yeah.
So, and this is, listen, I didn't slip it in his coffee. This was consensual.
Yeah.
But now he understands and he doesn't question me ever again. So I think it's really funny that, that went down that way. But I think it's also, that's a good way to educate somebody, you know, a safe way to educate.
When we lived in the Bay Area, you know, my 2 daughters-in-law would be over at the house and they'd have sweater, and I didn't run the heat when it's cold because I'm boiling hot all the time. And they're like layered up in sweaters and sweatshirts and blankets, and I'm in shorts and a tank top, so hot. And I'm like, that's sorry.
Especially summer in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks, oh my God, I got to bring my bikini. And oh, well, that's the first thing they sell in the gift shops is a sweatshirt.
Exactly.
You're 39.
Exactly.
I was just there last year. This time I took Bailey down to her first trip in last year in June, and I thought of us all day long. I told you I went through the Sunset and took my family all through Noriega and you know, up and down all the alphabet, you know, streets, and we came across a couple of really cool garage sales. It was like a really great day. Super cold, foggy, and I was like, that's where me and Nicole got the Christmas tree. And if you want to hear that story, tune into the podcast on Friday. There's a really great Christmas tree story. There's a great roommate story drama. There's
a hot dog story.
A hot dog story. Yeah, it's really, really fun.
That's a great point. Our first episode is about our origin story and how to manifest anything in a second.
And how everything can change in a second if it's an unguarded second. Yes.
Correct. And our second podcast is paranormally aroused.
Oh, yes. Yes. And we're going to leave that a little bit of a mystery. But let's just say it's not sexual. Not really. There's always... But paranormally aroused, yes, there's some very interesting stories we're going to tell about that, as well as other continuation topics that we started opening the door of last episode and didn't quite close. So y'all get an amazing experience listening. It's only 1 hour a week.
Yeah, and we have so many podcast titles ready to go of so many subjects. It's incredible. Let's see. Jane said hysterectomy 3 years ago and still have hot flashes and night sweats. I know my younger sister,
not fair,
who's only 49, had a hysterectomy and still gets hot flashes, and hers was probably 5 years ago. She's watching on here somewhere. I don't know if she can type in the chat.
Did she have her ovaries removed as well?
Both.
Okay. Yeah.
I still have one ovary.
Okay.
And
I still have 4. I have 4 left.
4 ovaries.
4 ovaries.
You're a mutant.
I know. They call me a reptile.
The new thing for me, so like about 3 years ago, I started having this weird thing where my fingers and toes would just pour sweat. And I'm not I don't sweat. I've never been a person that like sweats. I get hot, but I don't sweat. But like I'd be sitting at work and I'd be teaching a class and my hands would just be wet and my feet would be wet. And I worked with a lady who was a doctor of like physiology and kinesiology and stuff. And I said, Tara, what is happening?
You're a reptile.
Yeah. Then that went away. And now I wake up in the middle of the night, boiling lava hot and sweating. So yeah, anybody else aside from Jane and me and Lady Shadowe have sweating problems and hot flashes, because it's a real problem for us ladies and men. If you're listening,
men too. My husband gets the sweats in his
your hormones will change too.
Yeah,
your hormones will change too. And wow, Diana said 72 and she still gets them. Oh my God.
What's something to look forward to? Yay.
Oh my God, that sounds
terrible. That's so not fair. See what we have to go through. And I'll disclose that I didn't have children because I knew at a young age that I wanted to be an artist, and I knew that that would be very time consuming. And, creativity, whether you're having children and raising them, or creativity, whether you're an artist and creating projects, is all the same thing, right? It's birthing things or birthing people or birthing ideas. It's all the same. Nurturing, showing it to the world in its completion. And I thought, I'm not going to get away with anything because I didn't have children, because I know that like the hormones are still whacked even if you have them. So they're just, as a woman, you're not getting out of any of this, no matter what you've done with your body.
No matter what. Now,
Yeah.
Kathy says, how about that inner ear itch? Mine almost is gone, but for about 2 years, my ears, and my sister told me it's because the wax in your ears changes and gets more liquidy or greasy or something.
Really?
Yeah. And my ears, I mean, I'd be at work and I'd just be pressing those. It was horrible.
Oh,
So
that's weird.
the inner ear itch is terrible. So if you're lucky if you didn't get that.
I did
Trent
not get that.
said she started menopause at 40 prematurely and now 58, finally over it. Nice. 18 years. Women. We God bless women.
So much to look forward to still.
Yep.
But you know what? I'm going to say one of the things that we were talking about the podcast too is the things that we say to ourselves throughout the day when we wake up. And when I wake up, I'm like, oh my God, I'm alive, thankful, healthy, not on any pharmaceuticals. I go to my window, open up my kitchen window before I go and have my vitamins. And I just think, hello world, I'm alive. Thank you. I feel good that I'm alive. It's just a little gratitude thing. It's just a quickie. And then throughout the day, you add more gratitude as you go.
Yeah.
But just to wake up and go, okay, wow, I made it another day, because I know so many people from high school, and I'm sure you do and the audience does too, that have already passed who have not made it this far.
Yeah.
I know at least 30% of my class are gone.
One of my very, very close friends passed just a few months ago from high school, and she was a little bit younger than me. And a year before that, another one. And it's like, we're in our 50s. We're not that old. Like, yeah, it sucks. Lori said 61 here, but once in a while, since it started 10 years ago, ugh. But back then it was horrible. Night sweats would go through 2 tank tops. And sometimes I just strip down completely. I just take everything off, and I can't like, I'm so hot right now. Just talking about it is making me hot.
What is that called? The placebo, kind of a placebo, where
Something like that. Yeah.
You're inviting it on yourself.
Yeah. Yeah. It's yeah, exactly. Trent said it's cruel and unusual punishment from our creator, right? Exactly.
It makes you wonder who our creator really is.
It's the collective consciousness, and who decided that this is what should happen to our biology. That's what I want to know.
Yeah. It's on my list of questions when I get to the pearly gates.
So in our podcast, we're going to talk about our spiritual journeys, how we blend the mystical with the practical. And as everybody knows, I have a science background. I still work in science, education, and communication. So I have to keep one foot on Mars and one foot on Earth.
One on Earth. Yep, that's right.
And one in the spiritual realm. And I'll tell you that I really love being in the spirit world when I'm connecting, and it would be real easy just to stay there forever, like in my mind, because it's peaceful and pleasant and nice and loving, but that's not realistic. And I could see how people get,
discouraged fast. Yeah.
It can become too much.
Yeah.
So it's real and it's magical, and I'm so excited.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun to record them too. Yeah.
A little bit messy and from the heart. Yeah, Diana, it does suck. So, let me click this off. All right, so we want to take some questions and give us some questions, anything about anything. We're going to talk about, as most of you know, my husband had cancer last year. And we're going to talk about male cancer, and it's been in the news, actually. My husband's cancer was very similar to what President Biden's cancer is, and had he not caught it when he did, my husband's would have become aggressive because it was already spreading. So thank God I encouraged him strongly to go get checked. You know why?
Right now.
I
Yeah.
made my husband go to the doctor because we had just watched the Friends reunion. I don't know. I know Lise never watched Friends and hated it.
I tried to get into it recently because it was all that was on one day, and I couldn't do it. I live in New York, and I'm like, wait a minute. These people are from New York. Is that true? They live in New York? That's so unrealistic for New
In
York.
the show, yeah, everybody
Yeah.
talked about that. So anyway, I was watching the Friends reunion, and we can have an episode about Friends if you want.
You'd be the only one talking.
You can tell me why you don't like it. And then like very shortly after the Friends reunion, the guy that played Gunther in the coffee shop died from prostate cancer.
Oh no. The
And
character or the actor?
the actor.
Ooh.
Yeah. And my husband's dad had prostate cancer prior to his passing. So obviously I want my husband to get checked. And he got checked, and he had his numbers were off a little. So they made him come back and get checked. And then they were really off. And then he had a biopsy, and it was bad and spreading. And then he had to have major surgery last year. And then it was in his nerves already. And he was only 52, which is extreme for the type of
very young
cancer he had. He was very young for that. So I'm glad he caught it, and he's healthy, and he's cancer free. So he's had his checks at like 3, 6, and 12 months, and he's been cancer free for all of them. So that's an important thing that most men don't get checked. That's why so many men get a problem and it's too late. And sometimes you can get checked, and then the next year you get checked, and boom, it's really bad. Just like any cancer can just be popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So make sure your husband's fathers, cousins, brothers, whoever, friends are getting their PSA checked at the very least. A lot of men don't want to do it because they don't want the manual exam. They can do the PSA.
Listen, I will be there to watch and support through those exams. I will hold my husband's hand.
I don't want to watch any of that. We're very different like that.
Let me just say,
certain like blood doesn't bother me. Cuts and surgery and all that gory crap doesn't bother me.
It's the opposite for me. Yeah.
But you don't mind the other gory, the gross stuff?
Oh,
Jane has a question. And this is going to be something we're going to talk about. Why do we have to play mommy to our husbands?
Because they had mommies, or they didn't have a mommy, and now they need a mommy, or they need the same mommy that they had when they were growing up.
Jane, it's like you're psychic because we already have this on our list of podcasts.
That's right. And I love my sweet, sweet mommy loving husband. I do. He's one of the best guys I've ever met in the world.
He's so
let alone dated. He's very, very sweet and kind and gentle. But yeah, for the moments that we have to handhold, it's stuff you would never expect. Like he can't take an eye drop, right? Like he will not take and I of course can't look at blood, but I got a really bad bout of food poisoning once, and I had to go to the emergency room. It was my first and only IV. I mean, knock on wood. And
you almost
had to get hydrated. Yeah.
You almost made your mother-in-law must have influenced.
Spectacles, testicles, what is it? Wallet and watch?
I don't know. I grew up Catholic, so I don't know.
So I was in the emergency room, and they said, okay, we're going to hook you up to an IV. We're going to, do a quickie chest x-ray and this and this and this. And then she said, roll over. We're going to do a fecal exam. And my husband was like, oh, because he's like, that nurse is super hot. I cannot believe that I'm over here rolling around in pain, and he just wants to watch a nurse with a piece of gauze wrapped around her 2 fingers to go exploring like Columbus. I'm like, what the hell? And he told me, oh yeah, the whole time of emergency, that was super hot for me. I'm like, oh my God, what is wrong with you?
That is not, see, you know what is so funny? I have so much to say about that. And then I want to address Jane's question directly. And then Diana made a comment I want to get to, but I was, I get really insecure about my body since I had my kids 28 years ago. And it's never recovered, if anybody can relate. Um, and I read an article that said men are only attracted to one thing mainly, and anything else doesn't really matter on your body. Like there's one thing they're like the most attracted to, and they don't really pay attention to the rest of it. So, and they can become aroused at any time. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are, like the one you're explaining. So, awesome, dudes. Yay. Because it's biology, right? It's biology. That's all they're thinking. Reproduce, reproduce, reproduce. But as far as being mommy to our husbands, my mother-in-law, bless her heart, did every single thing for her son. She had 3 sons. Everything, every dish, every meal, every laundry, made every bed, every single thing. My husband said he didn't even know where the laundry room was in his house because she was a Southern mom. She worked, she was a teacher. She worked and did everything. And he was the youngest, so he was the baby, which comes with all that stuff. And he had to learn every single thing when he moved out. He didn't know he had to do the dishes when he moved out. Luckily, he didn't live with me first. He figured out dishes before we lived together. But he learned a lot before we lived together. And he's very neat and very clean. But he had to learn all that on his own because his mom did everything. So why are we the mommy to our husbands? Because moms don't prepare their sons before they move out. And I made it a point. Now, I wasn't perfect. I'm sure I missed some things here and there, but I made it a point to teach my sons, I have 2 adult sons, how to do the dishes. Now, do they do the dishes in their family? I don't know. I hope so. I think they do. I taught them how to clean their bathroom, the toilet, the shower, wash the floors, vacuum, fold the clothes, do the laundry. They did their laundry from like the time they were 10 years old. Because I worked 2 jobs all the time. So I was busy and tired. So they knew how to do everything before they were released to their wives. And that was a big goal of mine. So their wife won't have to mommy them. Now, do they? Probably in some ways, because boys seem to be needier.
Agreed.
And
the ones I've dated anyway.
Boys seem to be needier. It's just a difference in their neurobiology, I think.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yep. And and Jane said, I make all his appointments and take him to all his appointments. And I say to people all the time, Jane, if an adult can do it, let them do it. I, over the years, stopped doing stuff like when maybe the first 10 years I was married, we've been married 29 years. I used to make all my husband's appointments and then I stopped. I'm like, well, if his teeth fall out, his teeth fall out.
Yeah. In some ways you have to let that go because my husband too.
He's a grown man.
Yeah.
He's a grown man.
My husband lived at home until he was 28. And it's the first thing I asked him when we were AOL chatting when we met in the 90s. I said, do you live at home? No. He had just moved out a year prior to live with his cousin. Okay. So that question, I would have not even gone on a first date with him and had he said, I'm still at home. But he was a late bloomer. He was home taking care of his grandmother too, who they had a great relationship, which is great. But when I met him, I said, I was paying a bill or something. And I said, do you want me to, I saw bills on his counter. I was like, do you want me to mail those for, oh no. And my mom does it for me. I said, what? He goes, oh, well, she writes it. I don't have a checking account. I'm like, you're 28. I was like, oh no, wait. So you don't live at home, but barely not living at home, but you don't know how to write a check. And I was like, oh man, I just went through this with my ex. But this guy is much more emotionally intelligent, which is more important to me than probably practical. And that stuff can be taught. But if your man isn't intuitively emotionally intelligent, you know how hard it is to bring that out or even to you know what I'm saying? It's just, it has to be innate in you already.
Yes.
So, I'm like, I'll
I
just take the
do.
emotionally intelligent guy and teach him how to write a freaking check. No
Yeah.
problem. I'll take the compromise.
Yeah.
But it was a little alarming because, there's a lot of things that but then, I mean, the guy can fix a car, without being told how to do it. He's out there right now fixing a fence that he built last week. Like, it's just kind of cool. There's
all people come into every relationship with their own strengths and weaknesses. And there's a great scene in The Big Bang Theory between, if anybody watches that, between Bernadette and Howard and Amy and Sheldon. I watch a lot of sitcoms, okay? Because I don't watch the news.
We're not judging you.
And Bernadette says they're all fixer-uppers.
Yeah, exactly.
She's like, her husband had gone to space in the show. He became an astronaut after they got married, or while they were getting married or something. And she's like, that's all me. He never could have done that before he met me.
Amen, girlfriend.
It's really funny because in every relationship, we're supposed to strengthen each other and build each other up, not be two weak people who tear each other down, right? Yeah. So I tell people all the time, the line in Jerry Maguire, where you complete me, is the biggest crock of BS ever and should never have been published for anyone to see, because you are not supposed to complete another person. It makes me want to say every cuss word known to man.
Amen.
We are taught as women, usually, mostly women, are taught to get completed by a man, right? That's our society, general society. I'm talking about general society stuff, like not other options for relationships, but little girls are mostly taught to be there for the man and find a good man and da 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 and blah 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 blah. You're not. No, stop. If nobody ever hears anything and you're a younger person or a single person listening to this, do not find somebody to complete you. It makes me want to scream. Do not find somebody to complete you. Complete yourself. And then you'll recognize another complete person.
Agreed.
Because my husband and I were very far from complete when we met. I mean, we were maybe a quarter of a person. Maybe I was a half.
I wouldn't chop yourself down that low, Nik. Give yourself a little more. Give your pie a little more credit.
So you know what I'm saying. Like, we were not ready emotionally to be in a marriage. It has been very hard because of that. We've been to therapy a million times because of that. Because neither of us came to our marriage with the tools to make a healthy relationship. Anybody relate to that? Is anybody know anybody except for that lady I know who came from the perfect family? My Holly knows what I'm talking about. She's chiming in finally.
Which Connie? Our Connie?
Holly.
Oh, Holly. Hey, Holly.
Most people don't have the tools to get into a healthy marriage.
Yeah.
Everybody's got crap. I had crap. I'm sure you did too.
And even now, when 20 years later, you work out so much crap, but there's always ongoing crap too.
Mm-hmm.
You know? And so that's the thing, like, no,
on the old crap.
And it's not about evolving to this point and then stopping, and now you're on top of the hill looking down, going, oh, look, I have it all. You have it all already. But what happens is when you're having a bad day or when the shit hits the fan, you can just handle it so much easier. You can float past it like a river. Yeah. Like if you're going down the river on a float and you see two animals fighting, instead of going, oh my God, I got to stop and like help them. And no, just keep like, listen, that's not my business. If I get between those animals, I'm probably going to die. So I just need to stay on my float and keep going and look at the birds and focus on the serenity of the float. Right. That's so much easier than, okay, I got to get from here to here. And if I don't get here by this date or this age, that I'm just a loser. No, it's just a journey. It's a daily journey. And I think the only goal that collectively humanity should have is, like, I always ask people who are like, I do life coaching. So I ask my clients, in your little pie chart, what percentage do you feel serene? or joyful, like say in a week, like here's a whole pie, like draw the amount of like where you feel like you're good, you're relaxed, like you're happy. I don't ever see a pie chart that honestly gives me more than 30% that's filled
Right.
in. It's 70%
Especially
stress, discord. Yeah.
people who work for other people probably have 90% stress. I've been reposting a bunch of my old videos on my social media when I worked at a school full time, and you can see a very stark difference in the bags under my eyes. And this before I worked from home, like I was not sleeping well. I was constantly under stress. There was so much stress in those schools. I can't believe I did it as long as I did.
Yeah. And that's another thing. We're going to empower everybody in our podcast to try to like take a little bit more control of your life and make more choices that bring joy, to face your fears so that you can go into work or hobbies even that bring you more joy. There's a lot of people say, oh, I love to learn the guitar, but some other day, some other time. Well,
but guess what?
Time.
That time might be gone.
Yeah. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I mean, did we all think, well, I kind of knew when COVID shut the world down, my husband and I were traveling for the first time in Egypt, and we had gone, I think we left January 9th and we got back around January 18th, something like that. We had this long trip. So we went to Morocco, went to Egypt. It was a fantastic time. And our last leg was Paris. Usually our first leg is Paris, but our last leg was Paris. And we're sitting there in a creperie. So cliche. And we're watching the news because we'd been hearing about the virus going around through China. And we looked up at the TV and it said there will probably be major disruptions to everyone in the world within a couple of months. And I said, it's a good thing we are in Paris right now and we should be enjoying every minute here because this shit is going to hit the fan. And I had a show going on an off-Broadway stage within 2 months. And I knew that would somehow be affected, but I still lived my life anyway. I still went through the rehearsals. I knew it was going to probably get shut down, but nobody else really knew that it was going to get shut down. I mean, I shut my show down 3 days before Broadway closed their doors to everybody because I knew I had kind of preemptively, this is the day I'm choosing to do it. But I don't think a lot of us really took a notice to like that this was coming. I knew it was coming because I was over in Europe hearing all of this fear porn before it happened here. And I said, Chris, like buckle down because things are going to change, and we just have to roll with it. There's nothing much we can do except to, again, stay sane, keep going with our lives and hold space and peace. But I don't think that probably at least half of us knew that what was going to happen happened. And it changed almost everybody.
I knew that the virus was spreading, but and I'm a science person. I had no idea that what happened was going to happen. Like, when the NBA game got canceled, that's how I see for those of you who
you're like, oh, that's
my husband's
some serious shit.
My husband's a big sports fan, and we turned on a game in March, I believe it was March of 2020, and they canceled the game and emptied the stadium. And I thought, that is some weird shit.
Especially for men, right? Who also think that their world is an invincible no matter what. Like,
right.
That's some serious.
I knew it was serious when that happened.
Exactly.
And then the Tiger King podcast or video. Did you watch Tiger King?
No. What is that?
You don't know what Tiger King is?
No.
Everybody who's watching, did you watch Tiger King?
Is it a show, a movie? What is it?
No.
Okay.
So I cannot believe you didn't see this. Please watch it. It is worth every second.
Is it?
So, yeah. It's a documentary.
Okay.
About this guy.
Oh, the guy that trains the tigers and was a crazy. Okay, yeah, I never saw that. Yeah. Yeah, it looked a little too wild for me.
Listen, I was in the kitchen. I was, preparing for the end of the world because it was COVID and everything was shut down. And I'm like getting all my rice bags and ramen and canned goods all organized.
Everything but toilet paper, I hope.
And I had toilet paper.
I was not one of those people that collected toilet paper.
I didn't collect it, but there were 6 of us living in the house at the time. So I had to have plenty. I didn't have 200 rolls or anything. Our stores were open.
Yeah.
We just had to stand in line.
Yeah,
Anyway,
yeah.
so my husband, I was in the kitchen doing the stuff, and my husband watched the first episode. He goes, "Oh my God." It was like noon.
I can't see Doug getting into that. I can't.
We were locked down. Nobody could go to work. We couldn't do anything. We had nothing to do but walk around the block 50 times a day.
And watch Tiger King. Yeah.
He goes, "Come look at this." We sat there and watched every episode in one day.
Wow.
It was incredible. Just for the shock value. It was so crazy.
So
Lori said she watched it. Kim said no. Lee said yes. Carol said yes. And Jane said it was such a joke. It was crazy.
Wow.
It's just, if you get the flu and you have nothing else to do, turn it on.
If it's a comedy, any day.
Oh, there's some comedic moments in it.
Yeah.
He's wild.
Interesting.
Yeah. But we will be much more authentic and entertaining than Tiger King.
Oh, for sure. We're way more real.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll just give you a hint. The Tiger King, was in a marriage, a 3-way marriage with 2 other men. They all got married to each other.
Oh, so this was consensual. Okay, that's not necessarily more dramatic in itself, but
no, but it was wild. I've never seen 3 people get married to each other before.
It's like the Mormon version of
sister wives.
Yeah,
husbands. Husband brothers.
Which would never be allowed, ironically, in the Mormon religion. But you could have 20 wives. You just can't have a boyfriend. No.
Can your 15th wife have a boyfriend?
Exactly. Probably not.
Yeah.
The wives can't have what they want. I would love to have 3 husbands. I'm just saying.
There's a show now on TLC. I know we're way off topic, everybody, but this is just entertaining at this point. There's a show on TLC. I watched a video about it the other day where 2 heterosexual couples are in a couple with each other. And they switch husband and wife.
Okay.
And they have kids, but they don't know who the dads are.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah, fascinating.
Y'all take note. This is what excites Nik, is watching these fascinating reality shows.
I will never watch that. Like, I don't watch Sister Wives.
You didn't watch it. You just heard about it.
No, I see the TikToks about it.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Got it. Got it. Well, there are all types of lifestyles out there. I have my own unique lifestyle, but you have to tune into the podcast.
I have no judgment on their lifestyle. It's just
I know.
It's
just fascinating.
Fascinating.
Yeah, it is. Because like you were saying earlier, the whole complete me thing, we have to come, you're right, we have to complete ourselves. We have to come to the buffet with a full empty plate, if you know what I'm saying. You can't come, you don't want to go to the buffet with a little ramekin, right? Then you're not going to get the full scope of everything. But yeah, so
you want your plate to be full of fresh fruits and vegetables, not hamburgers and hot dogs.
But you do want a hot dog occasionally. Yeah. But also no, but you
if you're a vegetarian, can you have an eggplant?
Yes.
We've gone so far off the rails.
We love to talk about phallic shaped fruits and vegetables, but that is again another talk for another. Why do you think they're shaped that way? Like everything is that. Everything is comes from the male and the female Kavorka. The Seinfeld yeah.
Say the word again.
Kavorka?
Oh, I don't know what that is.
I know the Kavorka is. Okay, well, that's a Seinfeld episode you gotta check out.
I know what the cloaca is.
I bet you do.
Trent said the 3-way guy marriage was the tip of the iceberg of craziness on Tiger King. It was pretty wild.
That was on Tiger King too.
Yeah.
Yes, so that was that was a 3-way guys, but then the other never mind. 2 couples. Got it.
Yeah.
I'm getting it all mixed up. I'm getting all my these reality.
Well, that's why you have to watch all the documentaries.
Oh my gosh. No,
so
but like
anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this hilarious off the rails live stream with Lady Shadowe and Peaceful Nik.
I was going to pull some cards, but I do want to let everyone know quickly that my cards are finally at the printer. My new beautiful tarot cards.
They're so beautiful.
They are stunning. I'm telling you, I'm not just making this up. So when we pull cards, when I get this deck in a couple of weeks, you all will be so excited to see
if you want to go
what they look like
on Wednesday, because I go live on Wednesday at 8 every week. If you want to do cards, then we can do that, and I'll pull cards too.
Okay, but yeah, and I can also give a preview of the new cards, like in a digital.
Yeah. Perfect. But I wish I had.
I can't wait until they come, because they're a service deck, so they're not for me. They're all for you all, and this deck is also for sale. Will be up for sale on my website as well. And they are just unlike anything you guys have seen before, and they're also designed differently than your standard deck. So we have to share that with everybody when they get here.
Can't wait. I can't wait to get my deck and pull cards all the time.
I am gifting a deck to Nik, so she will be pulling my cards during reading nights, and I'm so excited for that, because like I said, you guys will be so inspired when you see your card, even if it's like something that needs to be worked on. It's such a visual that you're just going to know that you can heal anything.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's so cool. And I created them in that higher state of being where I was channeling the right imagery for the card. So
they're beautiful. I can't wait to use them. We will be live again Wednesday. Hopefully nothing dramatic comes up in your world, and you'll be pulling cards. I'll be pulling cards.
Or I know that Cosmic Chris might be available, so it will be one of us pulling cards.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And we'll see you Wednesday, same time, same place. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. Carol loved it. Kelly loved it. Lee said she can't wait to see the new cards. So I'm excited.
Who is that, Lee?
Lee Digert.
Oh, nice. Okay. And also, thank you, Lee. What was I going to say really quickly? Oh, and don't forget to tune in Friday. And if you miss us on Spotify, you can replay it anytime, and you can pop into one of our socials where we're also going to post the podcast replay. So
Magical Mondays. 1 week from tonight.
Yes.
We are going to have Magical Mondays, which is our follow-up show to the podcast on Friday.
And it's only 20 minutes, because we're going to do a giveaway at the end. Yeah. So you don't have to sit through a long chat to get something exciting at the end. We're going to pull.
It's going to be a short, brief.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody from the comments that will stay for the whole 20 minutes to give you a little boost for the entire week to handle whatever might come your way, because Mondays suck. But we're going to try to make them better.
My Patreon post today was about Mondays, why they suck and what to do about it.
Yeah. It's an energy that's everywhere, because you can feel it from the collective.
Yes,
it's just absolutely. A fact. I feel a totally different way on Mondays than I do any other day, and it's because we're empathically feeling from everybody else.
100%. So we will see you Friday on our podcast, and Wednesday here for card pulls, and next Monday for Magical Mondays. Yay! Good night. Love to everybody. Thank you for being here.
Blessings. Bye. Lots of blessings on everybody.
Yes,
Thank you.
Bye.